Grief. What is it? According to Wikipedia, grief is the response to loss, particularly to the loss of someone or some living thing that has died, to which a bond or affection was formed. Although conventionally focused on the emotional response to loss, grief also has physical, cognitive, behavioral, social, cultural, spiritual, and philosophical dimensions. Suppressing grief through channelizing it into something else as a coping mechanism without directly confronting its cause eventually would eat one inside as a person, irrespective of how good they are at what they do. But why are we talking about grief so much in a video which is supposed to be a review of a murder mystery web series? Well, Mare of EastTown is that kind of a show, which doesn't only focus on the resolutions of its many mysteries, but the emotional impact of all that is happening to its characters, and in turn, the audience, who feel as a part of this community called EastTown. So stay tuned to find out our analysis of arguably this year's best miniseries till date. Before we move on, here's once more requesting you to subscribe to our channel to help us keep motivated. Mare of EastTown at the surface level is a murder mystery, a whodunit. However, it is so much more than that. Mare of EastTown paints the life of the average American living in a small town where everyone knows everyone else. They don't have big mansions, neither do they have swanky cars to race, nor do they go to strip clubs and talk business with a beer in their hands. They stay in their small secluded town doing their 9-to-5 jobs, going to schools, running a shop. They are like everyone else around the world. Not special, but relatable. EastTown feels like a microcosm of the world. Like many of us, what the people of EastTown have is grief, gallons of grief. Grief which is not visible at first, but what you perceive slowly as the story unravels and you are sucked into it. As mentioned earlier, the story starts off as a murder mystery. A 17-year-old young girl is murdered in the woods, and Mare, the local police officer, played by the brilliant Kate Winslet, is asked to investigate the case. As the story moves forward, we come to know that another young girl had been missing for over a year. Mare tries to solve these cases, following the clues. But Mare's own story as an individual becomes equally interesting and captivating at the same time. She is a single mother and a grandmother battling custody for her grandson. She has lost a son to suicide and substance abuse, and is also divorced as the fallout of their son's suicide. Every day is a personal struggle for Mare, her work being the only respite to her grief. The show feels akin to a Russian doll. On one side, there are layers within layers to the murder backstory, and on the other side, there are layers of emotions to each character and the way they are connected. This is where this Craig Zobel directorial becomes so potent, powerful, and different from so many other shows on the internet. While the course of investigation and expositions progress, we also get to know the elusive stories of characters who are going through their personal hells and how they are coping with it. They have disagreements and fights every day with self and family. The fights tear them apart, but that doesn't break the relationship for good. Can any relation end for good anyway? Mare of EastTown provokes us to contemplate. Mare, as a divorcee, has to work with her ex-husband, played by a perfect David Denman, to raise their daughter. The scenes portraying the relationship between Mare and her mother, played by the brilliant Jean Smart, are revelations. The series exhibits a complex interplay of emotions rarely seen in thrillers. The past influences the emotions of the present, and in turn, the present emotions influence how one would feel in the future. It is in fact a ripple effect of emotions. The ripple effects are a common motif across Mare of EastTown. In some sense, the whole series is about different types of relations that exist between the parents and their children, and how ripple effects of past, faults and crisis tips into the present. It's about nature and nurture. A father trying to protect his kid by going to any extent possible. Another father pushing his kid towards uncertainty and doubt. A mother raising her daughter and grandson while coping with the present and the past, and another mother who thinks it's best to retreat from her child for his own good. Mare and her daughter Siobhan, played by the fantastic Anguri Rice, exhibit a relationship which appears cold but has multiple layers to it. A relation that is not comfortable, with loads of baggage from the past. But even then, Mare, with all her grief and burden, tries her best to nurture Siobhan for a better future. The past casts its shadow on the present, but through nurture, the present tries to overcome it. And then the present has to fight its own battles and grief. Even a priest who has a metaphorical father in the form of God has to face consequences of his actions and fight his battles on his own. Although nurture is force behind, which develops the character and prepares us for the battle from time to time, it succumbs to nature. More than all other battles going above and below the surface in EastTown, the struggles and effects of parenthood become a key to its structure and theme. The entire series is brilliantly narrated, shot and choreographed with excellent character developments, backstory and flashbacks. Take a bow, Craig Zobel. Finally, a word of appreciation for Kate Winslet. The tough cop with a heartbreaking backstory is not something which we have not seen before. But what Kate brings to such a complex character with her expressions and actions is absolute gold. Right from the time you are introduced to the character of Mare, you feel you are in for something special, something extraordinary, and that is what you get throughout the 7 episodes. An out-of-the-skin performance by the industry veteran. Be it the lightning shootout scene in a house which portrays her agility, or her emotional outburst at her home after visiting the mother of a dead colleague. The range of emotions and actions Kate puts across takes your breath away. All we can say, more of the same please Kate, more of the same. We started talking about grief in our discussion. But it's not that there aren't other emotions in this story of EastTown. Jealousy, frustration, guilt, or greed, they all feature in Mare's world. Interestingly, however, love is something which is fleeting in this town. Something ever so close but just out of reach. There are dates which end up in fights. There is a couple who wants to make love but are obstructed by their ex-lover. There's plethora of scenes where two individuals are close to each other, but they fail to express love. But in the end, the earth-shattering end, love thrives. Love cures the grief, at least for some time. And it is love that provides Mare and everyone else in her world to embrace their grief. Yes, it's a very steep path to come face to face with your losses, as the beautiful final frame suggests. But that's what we humans are expected to do, in some way or the other, in our journey of life. Thank you for watching this video till the end. If you enjoyed our analysis, please help spread the word and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much.